You hit your 40s and suddenly you do the math. If you're lucky, you've got 20, maybe 30 years of healthy, productive life left. 20 years. You look around and this question keeps you up at 2 a.m. Is that it? Is that really all there is for you in this life? But what if 20 years ago you missed a couple of turns and now you're going to a dead end? Is it too late to change? And if not, how to make sure that this time you make the right turn? The good news is that a midlife crisis is the beginning of your transformation, but you have to know what are the symptoms and what not to do when you face them. Otherwise, you might indeed miss that last chance to live a full, authentic life. Symptom number 1, strong dissatisfaction with life even when everything is objectively okay. Obsessive comparison to your younger self. You have a good life, but that's not enough. Because you set your bar 20 years ago so high, you start blaming and judging yourself for not achieving that bar. You should be richer, higher, taller, stronger, and more successful by now. You start to think that you are a failure. And psychologically, this is called future self-tyranny. A typical mistake we make is trying to force motivation. Most people react like this: I'm not where I should be, I'm not where I'm supposed to be, I must fix myself, I need to push harder. But here's the thing, pushing harder would actually make everything worse very, very soon. So what do we do instead? First of all, you realize that your past self, the one judging you, is not wiser than you. He was simply unrealistic and uninformed. The best thing you can do for yourself is to grieve that life you imagined 20 years ago as soon as possible. Accept that that didn't happen, that won't happen. This exercise will help. Sit down with a blank notebook and write your life as a memoir. Start with where and when you were born and keep writing a chronological autobiography. Make broad strokes. Your short memoir. It might take you a week, it might take you a month, but it has to be daily writing. As you write that autobiography, at some point you will cry. That I can guarantee. Once you finish that writing, prepare for a ritual. Find a place with a fireplace where you can be alone. Spend a night there. It has to happen in solitude and silence. That night, have another blank page of paper and write what you wanted to become. Write yourself a letter. This is something I truly wanted to become. Then take that autobiography, that notebook, and that letter, and burn them both down in the fireplace. As you watch it burn, say out loud, "Thank you for getting me here. I release both of you now." And grieving the fantasy doesn't mean giving up on your future. It means releasing the version of you from your past that keeps you stuck. Only when you let the old story die, you create a space for the real one to begin. Symptom number 2, existential anxiety and mortality awareness. One day, out of thin air, you become painfully aware that your time is actually finite. And you start calculating, how many years do I have left? Instead of thinking decades ahead, you're suddenly thinking in decades remaining. Sleep becomes harder, and ordinary moments get interrupted by this question like, what if I wasted my life? People respond to mortality panic with urgency. They start making impulsive, fear-driven decisions like buying things they don't need, quitting stable careers overnight, diving into affairs of compulsive dating. They're trying to fill the void with external things, seeking validation and approval from others. They're starting to cross their bucket list as if it's their last chance. So what do we do instead? Well, we finally have to accept that we are going to die. And instead of asking, how much time do I have left? We have to start asking, how do I want to live in that time that's left? I faced the same symptom, and this practice helped me so much. After nothing external helped to fill the void, after I crossed most of the items from my bucket list, I felt even worse than before, even worse. And this practice helped me a lot. I started thinking about mortality as the filter that strips away everything that doesn't matter. I wrote down what truly mattered to me. I began my list by naming as many things that came to my mind. The list was like 20 items. Then I selected only 3 items. Like your goal is to select only 3 items. Then I took a blank page of paper and wrote those 3 things. And then I put those 3 things in front of me and I circled only one. It took me a while. To figure out which one to circle, but it has to be one that will still matter if I were told I have only 1 year left. So basically, you make a list of all things matter, then short it down to 3 items. Put it on a blank page of paper, and then ask yourself a question. If I only have 1 year left, which one of those things will still matter? One of those 3 things, and circle one. And the next day, I prioritize 30 minutes of my time to do the smallest thing towards that thing, that circle thing, that North Star. It had to be small, and I did it as soon as possible. I continued doing it once a week throughout the rest of that year, and that helped a lot to get through my own midlife crisis, more or less manageable. But I still fell into symptom number 3, which is obsession with your health and getting younger by any means. You no longer want to be just healthy, you want to reverse time. You start tracking all of the biomarkers, you take supplements, you count steps, your gym routine becomes more intense. Every new diet, every new biohack, every routine, every supplement feels like that thing will finally make you feel younger. Getting younger by any means might mean you want to surround yourself with younger people and hunt for younger dates, unnecessary cosmetic procedures. The list goes on and on and on, but you get the idea. So what do we do instead? We don't join Don't Die Club. We accept the fact that very soon, universally speaking, our bodies will become old and we are going to die. And we accept that we can't reverse aging. So instead of wasting our time and money in those attempts to do what's impossible to do, we use the time that's left to live a full immersive life in the present, not in the past. When you stop trying to rewind the past, you finally start living in the present. Aligned with your new set of values, aligned with your new priorities, aligned with your new true mission. Not the one that was set 20 years ago by that dumb kid. We are going to die, that I can guarantee. So let's reimagine our purpose. Let's rediscover our mission, meet our higher self, and live in peace and harmony once and for all. It's hard to do that on your own. And that's why I created Free Community, with a lot of resources and like-minded people that will help you along your midlife transformational journey. It's absolutely free, no course to buy, no upsell, none of that nonsense. And link would be in the description. Symptom number 4, loss of motivation and compulsive substitutions. You suddenly lose all motivation for the things that used to matter and feel a strange emptiness towards your goals. Yet at the same time, you bounce from distraction to distraction. You binge scroll, you start dating, spending, Amazon sprees, traveling or starting random projects just to avoid sitting alone with the discomfort of feeling directionless. It could get worse, and you start to abuse alcohol and substances. Compulsive behavior. You don't care about destructive nature of your actions because the outcome will happen someday in the future. And in that future, nothing good awaits anyway, so why even care? This happens because your subconscious has already withdrawn its permission to continue living as is as your old identity. And when the inner self no longer believes in the path you're walking, it shuts down motivation. And it replaces it with compulsive behavior. Because distraction is always psychologically easier than confronting this terrifying question. The question is, who am I? Who am I? It's a very terrifying question, very scary question. So instead of trying to fix motivation, we have to start looking inside ourselves to seek for an answer to that question. Who am I? Not who I was 20 years ago, certainly not who I should be by now. No, it's who am I? Great, now we got the question. But who do we ask that question? We ask our higher selves. We ask our subconsciousness. But how do we find that higher self? We meditate. Instead of trying to force motivation back into something that no longer fits you, stop running, slow down, and create space for your higher self to answer you. Sit still for 10 minutes a day without phone. Let the emptiness speak. Learn to listen to your intuition and trust it. Your higher self speaks the language of intuition. After a week of meditating 10 minutes daily, increase that number to 15 minutes. And after the meditation, open the journal and keep asking one question, just one question. That question would be, if nothing was expected of me, what would I choose to be? What would I choose to do? If nothing was expected of me, what would I choose to do now? You meditate, you ask the question, you journal. Whatever comes to your mind, you just fill the pages. Don't even read it, just write it. You'll get back to reading later on. Keep doing that for a week. Bad ideas will eventually fall off of you, and good ideas will stick. Then your intuition will do the rest. And the more you trust your intuition, the louder it will get. But you have to start with a question. If we don't ask that question, we don't expect to hear the answer because, question goes first, answer goes later. So start with the question. Symptom 5, synchronicity starts to show up. You begin noticing patterns, repeating numbers, meaningful coincidences, and intuitive nudges you can't logically explain. I wrote a book on that symptom because for several months of my life, all I was doing was following those signs. And it turned out that all of those signs were leading to my transformation and spiritual awakening. And the biggest mistake here is that you ignore those signs. You just brush them off. It's a mere coincidence, dumb luck, or a stupid chance. Big mistake. They are brought to your attention by your subconscious mind. For some reason, your subconscious mind thinks that it's important. So he drew your attention, your conscious attention to that. And the biggest mistake is to ignore that nudge, because there are only two options here. If you actually follow those signs, either everything will get better or everything will get way better. Instead of brushing those coincidences in trash, I would strongly suggest you follow those signs. With your curiosity enabled, of course. Curiosity, dial it to 100% and set yourself on this beautiful, wonderful, transformative adventure to find out where those signs lead you. And chances are, they lead you exactly where you're supposed to be to figure out this answer to that question, who you are. They lead you so you can learn from your experience who you actually are. Those signs are the greatest gifts, so choose wisely. Symptom number 6, craving for solitude. Seemingly overnight, your tolerance for small talk, fake relationships, performative work, or doing things just to be polite, that ability drops to zero. That tolerance drops to zero. You start feeling like an alien in your current environment. The people around you, they reflect the version of you that is dying, not the version of you emerging. You want your mask off. You want to be your true self, without judgments, without those weird looks, without people's eyes rolling. And it's hard to find that kind of society. It's hard to find that place. I know only one place in the world where you can go and be your true self. It's called Burning Man. And unfortunately, it only works for 1 week a year. There's nothing wrong with being alone. In fact, it's a great time to be alone. You have to listen to yourself to figure out who you truly are. And if you're surrounded by constant distractions, it's impossible. The only mistake with this symptom is spending so much time alone, we can't socialize anymore. So what do? We balance solitude with socializing. And yes, you guessed it, we go to Burning Man. But we are going to Burning Man not for the sake of partying. No. We're going there to experience what it is like to be your true self in a society that embraces that to a radical extent. Symptom number 7, blaming crusade. You catch yourself blaming everyone and everything for the life you have. The government, the economy, your boss, your parents, your partner, your childhood, your nationality, your luck. You start convincing yourself that if only those things were different, your real life would finally begin. Because your ego is protecting you, it's easier to place the responsibility on external forces than to face your own agency. Because admitting responsibility means acknowledging the power to change. And for the ego, change means death. So it's an ego survival mechanism, it's a defense mechanism. But you are not your ego. The biggest mistake here would be to fall into trap, to fall into this false belief that you can't change unless circumstances change. And just accepting the misery of your life and keep on keeping on is a good idea. No. Remember that we can sail against the wind. We can't change the wind, but we are smart enough to adapt. Shift from blame to authorship by asking a single question. What is still within my control? What is still within my control? If you can't change external circumstances, you can change your attitude towards them. That is very much in your control. And you is in your control. Pretty scary list, isn't it? And most of the time, it's not just one or two symptoms. Most of the time, you get the whole buffet in various proportions. The good news is that this is a necessary crisis, so you can finally stop marching in the wrong direction in your life. If you stop and bring your focus to answering one question and one question only, who you truly are, then we can work on your directions from there. Let me know in the comments if any of those symptoms ring a bell. And please, if you're going through any of this right now, you don't have to do it alone. I've created a free community where we can share our midlife journeys, find ourselves in each other's stories, and support one another throughout this beautiful transformation. It's a great place to find all of the shortcuts to your higher self. Link is in the description. I'm so excited to see you there. You know what's common across all of those symptoms? They aren't the end. They're not proof that you failed. They are signs that your current life can no longer hold who you're becoming. And that's not a crisis, that's your second birth. In fact, I stopped calling it midlife crisis years ago. I call it midlife blessing. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly why this is not something breaking you. It's actually the beginning of your spiritual awakening. It's not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your real one. That video is right here. Watch it now, and I'll see you there.